For thousands of Canadians, summer travel plans have been thrown into uncertainty this August-long weekend. The WestJet flight attendant strike is officially underway, and that means flights have been canceled. Airport terminals are filling with frustrated passengers, and many travelers are left wondering whether they'll make it to their destination. And as the disruption and chaos unfolds, knowing what to do can be just as important as knowing what's happening. Joining us now is Barry Choi. He's a finance and travel expert with MoneyWeHave.com with some practical advice for passengers caught in the middle of all this. Barry, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Barry, for passengers waking up this morning learning that their flight has been canceled, what's the first thing they should do?
I would say just check your emails more than anything else. I want to give WestJet the benefit of doubt first. They're supposed to be rebooking passengers within 48 hours, whether that be on one of their own aircraft or a competitor. They need to get their passengers to where they're going to be. The problem is we're already hearing reports of people getting a new flight that doesn't work for them. It's going to be canceled right again because it's maybe later in the day or tomorrow morning. People have places to be and they're certainly concerned, but overall, if they might have to take matters into their own hands.
Okay, and can you also walk us through the rights and compensation that passengers are actually entitled to in, strike-related cancellations?
This is more complicated than it needs to be. So right now we're not in a strike position as we're talking. So if your WestJet flight is canceled, you are entitled to compensation. If you're flying within Canada, it's up to $1,000. If you're flying to Europe or trying to get back from Europe, you're entitled to more. The problem is once there's a strike and once your flights get canceled as a result, then it no longer follows under those compensation rights within Canada specifically because a strike is outside of airlines' control. So yeah, technically you can get a refund. You can obviously use that money you get back to book with another airline. Some passenger rights advocates will say you should hang on to that and not accept a refund. But if I've got somewhere to go and I see another airline that's maybe just a few $100s more, I'm going to book it personally.
Okay, and for someone who absolutely has to get to their destination, perhaps it's an important meeting, a wedding, a funeral even, what are the smartest alternatives right now?
I would say depending how far out, if you can book a refundable plane ticket to your next destination or to get home, or like you said, to a business meeting, yeah, book it right away. It's going to cost you a little bit more. Maybe you can wait things out a little bit longer, and that buys you enough time to make a decision then. WestJet currently has a policy where your flights are up to August 4th. You can cancel or refund and make alternative arrangements, which sounds good in theory, but that's only 2 days away. They really should have extended that window quite a while ago for a couple extra days. People are trying to catch a cruise. They want to get home. They want to go to those meetings like we were talking about. That's really not enough time to get passengers to find alternative arrangements.
Okay, and for those with prepaid hotels, tours, and cruises, I'm sure, what steps should they take to minimize their losses?
Well, I guess the most important thing is to look at your travel insurance policy first to see if there's anything you can get refunded. If you're trying to book a flight now with WestJet because it's a known issue, the travel insurance won't apply. And also depending on, say, your airline ticket, your hotel, or the cruise, you have to look at the details there. So some cruise lines, they might be able to give you a credit, same thing with hotels. But obviously, if you've booked something non-refundable, you don't really have many rights. WestJet has said that you will be compensated up to $250 a day for hotels and meals if you're stranded. But I don't know about you, Jazz, but the last time I checked for hotel prices, they're much more than $250.
No, for sure. And finally, let's talk about mistakes. What common mistakes do you see travelers, make during major airline disruptions that can end up costing them more than it needs to?
This is going to sound awful, but I feel like passengers rely on the airlines to get them home too much, even though they should be, obviously. Like as a passenger buying a plane ticket, I expect the airline to get me to my destination to get home. But as soon as I heard a strike notice, I personally was on a WestJet flight tomorrow morning. And then when they announced the potential strike a month ago, I was like, I do not trust WestJet just based on past experience. So I booked an alternative flight with Air Canada, fully refundable. And fortunately for me, there was still a seat available. So now I've canceled my WestJet flight and I'm taking that flight home that flight to business on Air Canada. So that's kind of the way we stand right now. And obviously the other mistake I would say is that passengers are not purchasing travel insurance that can protect them in a situation like this. And not just airline strikes, potential forest fires, or other issues that come up whenever we travel.
All right, Barry, thank you so much for these practical tips today.
No problem, anytime.
That is Barry Choi, a finance and travel expert with MoneyWeHave.com.